What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. It's great to be here with all of you today, Monday, June 21st, 2021, 1:55 p.m. here on the East Coast. And as always, joining alongside my co-host, probably a little tired like myself. We were up quite late last night doing one of these, getting another show on as we did a Sixers post-game review. Obviously not the results we wanted, but before that, Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, shout out to Dom for staying up late with us and knocking out a little. It's like I don't want to call it post game, more like a rant where we had another Zach Squared. Happy birthday to him! But Zach, it was fun. That was something new. We just continue to break records on the show. That was the latest show we ever done. The first late show we had, Zach, was towards 10:15. We broke wee early in the wee hours, so no sports show's ever done that. But Zach, how you doing today?
Yeah, that's true. Look, I'm doing great. Definitely tired, but I'm happy to be back. Obviously, last week we were not here. I was away, but I'm happy to be back. Happy to be able to come back on more normalish towards our summer hours, trying to really increase some of our content. And I'm excited to continue to do this in our second summer, doing this second season for everything, second NBA playoffs and everything. We're down to 4 teams. We're going to talk about all of that today as well. But other than that, we will start off with some of the big news. Again, last time we spoke about it briefly, but yeah, Sixers lose in 7 to the Atlanta Hawks. It's a not a very strong night for Philadelphia. Everybody across the city is heartbroken. It's embarrassing, really. And just to try to avoid and repeat ourselves today, I want to talk more about strategy moving forward, and that starts with the point guard position. And I'll be very clear. I've been a very big defender of Ben Simmons, adamant at that. I've always liked the kid. I think he's very talented. I think he's got a great ability to score when he wants to. I think that he's a phenomenal defender, if not the best in the NBA. I think he is the best in the NBA. But that's not good enough at this point. You already have a great defensive big, and you already have a couple other good pieces. At this point, it's time to move on from Ben Simmons. Tobias Harris does not pan out to be the guy that we needed him to be. Joel Embiid even gets tired. He got tired at the end of the games. He arguably could have lost us one of those games, but when he dropped 40 points, it's hard to argue that. Seth Curry and Danny Green were great additions this year. Danny Green, that's a question. Was him getting hurt possibly one of the reasons the Sixers struggled to find buckets late in games? It could have been because he was one of those guys recently. People haven't really thought about that too much. But yeah, at this point, Ben Simmons might need to go because Joel Embiid is only in his prime for so long. He's only going to play like this for so long. And I think it'd be good for Ben Simmons to get a fresh start somewhere else, somewhere where he can really go and get a fresh start. He's not under the microscope so much. And I think for Philly, it would benefit them substantially because they need more shooters around Joel Embiid. I think it's time for them to move on from Ben. Doc Rivers, I think, and I expect to be back next year. Led this team to the 1 seed, and while it was a second-round exit, still was a pretty damn impressive resume this year. But I do think it's time for the Sixers to move on from Ben Simmons. I think it's time for them to go ahead and make a move. I don't know what that move looks like right now. I don't know who's available. Damian Lillard would obviously be my number one choice. But again, it's probably a lot of teams' number one choices. However, a guard center duo with a guard that can shoot, the pick and roll we saw with Seth Curry this year, we've seen with J.J. Redick in the past, it is efficient and it works well. Embiid is only getting better. Simmons is not.
Could you imagine Damian Lillard being here, Zach? I mean, let's think about it. We're talking about a killer. That's what the Sixers is missing, an end-game killer. Joel Embiid is nice and all, but Zach, I mean, we all know Joel Embiid is getting double-teamed because his supposed to be dual partner can't shoot, so no one's going to pay attention to Ben Simmons. But Joel Embiid and Damian Lillard, that just wreaks problems. And if you have a guy like Seth Curry and Tobias Harris can actually not be a missing person, actually, and not be a bystander, actually do something, be a man amongst boys. Because, Zach, Tobias Harris is 6'8". There should be no reason why you're missing. I mean, how do you miss a putback dunk, Zach? I mean, come on. You're 6'8", you miss a wide open putback dunk. And not only that, you're missing wide open layups. See, if you're sitting here today, and it's not even 24 hours after a loss, it's going to be a little bit later. Because, Zach, we're, in around the 15, 14 hours after the loss. We're all blaming Ben Simmons. We have to look at Tobias Harris now and say, what did you do? He was there, and when it came to the first-round series, and Tobias just goes missing. But, Zach, going back to Ben Simmons in this situation, and you need to move Ben. And it hurts because I was on the record saying that when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are both healthy, they are arguably a top 3 duo in the league. And, yes, that's taking considering that you have Steph and Clay and LeBron and AD. But I put them right up there because it's just the height of those two guys and the fact that they can take over a game at any point. Zach, and the frustrating part about Ben Simmons is, excuse me, he excuse me, he took over a game at Utah where yes, they did lose, but he had 42 points. We know he could do it. I brought up his rookie year run where they won 15 games and he was a man. We know what he could do. He just can't do it in the playoffs. He is one of the best 82 game player I've ever seen in my life. But when you need him for an extra 16, I don't know. Our good friend Don calls Coach Budenholzer a great regular season coach, but not in the postseason.
I mean, as it pains me to say, but losing Green ruined the offensive spacing. With Danny Green, you're probably going to lose this series. So that brings back the question: do you want to keep Ben for another year? But I don't know what to say at this point. There's just not much you really can defend Ben Simmons with right now. But Tobias Harris deserves no excuse to not be blamed as well because he did a lot. Embiid, of course, did have some misses late in the game, but at that point, Embiid's done so much this season. You can only ask for so much from him. Shea Milton going missing this year, of course, was a big factor. Or as Gavin calls him, Malik Milton went missing this year quite a lot. Tyrese Maxey, unfortunately, not able to get a rhythm consistently. T. Thibault, obviously, unable to be a scoring producer. And Dwight Howard, for some reason, was on the floor in this series when their backup big was 6'8". I mean, Dwight Howard had no right being on the floor in this series. He's one of the best backup centers in the league right now, but he had no place being on the floor in this series. I think Doc Rivers deserves the most blame because there's a lot he could have done and just did not adjust to it. But at the same time, you can't argue that he put trust in Ben and Tobias, and they just could not step up to the moment.
It's like, let's go through it. It's always the bench that has a problem. Everyone wants to talk about Shake Milton. Guys, the only game that Malik Milton actually did good, I was there. The whole 200 level was Shane Malik. Zach, you should have came with us. I heard you had the chance to come. I wish you came because you would have loved it. We had nice seats. He had one good game, and I was in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want Malik to do good, I need season tickets. I do. Somebody. But the bench was a problem. They just could never be consistent. And one day it's Malik, the next day it's Tyrese Maxey with the energy. I'm not blaming Tyrese Maxey. He did phenomenal. No, Zach, I didn't really think Tyrese Maxey was going to even sniff the floor this playoffs, but he did more than I thought he was going to do. Dwight Howard, you're right, Zach. It's unnecessary for half the time when Dwight Howard was there. And it would be different if Dwight Howard was being productive. And sometimes he was, and majority of the time he wasn't. And that's no shame on Dwight Howard. There's no knock to his resume. Dwight's going to be a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But when it comes to that series alone, the amount of physicality Dwight brings and the amount of softness that the Atlanta Hawks plays, there is no need to put Dwight Howard out there. I'd rather see a small ball lineup with Ben at the 5 and you run Maxey at the 1 and see how that goes. But who do I know? I mean, I'm not a coach, Zach. I mean, that's
everyone I've talked to agrees, though. Even Dom last night said it. Dwight Howard, no place being on the floor in this game.
I like him, but you're right. I mean, there was just no need for Dwight Howard to use this at all. And he ran one too many guys, Zach. For the first time, I agree with you. This is the first time I agree. I need a breaking news panel. I agree with Zach. Doc Rivers ran one too many guys at the end of the game when he should have kept it short and sweet.
Playoffs should be too deep.
And why are we leaving George Hill, who was another player, on Danilo Gallinari, who was like 7'9", towers over. I think that might be a little over-exaggeration, but he towers over George Hill. And not one moment does Doc Rivers think, this is a problem. No, it just never. I'm not trying to blame Doc Rivers because, Zach, I mean, if this is Brett Brown, we wouldn't have made it to number 1 in the East. It would have been something different. But you just got to think, what goes on in the head of coaches and Ben Simmons? I really don't understand this. I think this loss is going to hurts more, if not maybe even a little bit less than the Kawhi travel bounce. But it's one of those losses where it's like the first time the Sixers were the East, everything that you asked for runs through y'all, and no matter what, you were the last 1 seed. This is the year to do it, where it was Milwaukee that took down Brooklyn, and all you had to do is beat Milwaukee in 7 games. You and worst case, you play against the Suns, which I think Zach, me and you, I kind of want to see that. I don't know about you, but and this was a year to win, and you just didn't do it. That's where this year is going to look at. The year to do it, and you just couldn't do it. I don't know what else. I don't know. There will be another year where it could be this easy.
I don't think there will be. I said it last night. I said I think that with the Nets going to get healthier in the offseason, they're going to get some more bench production next year and some defensive players. Milwaukee's only getting better at this point. They might even move on from their coach if they lose this series, which I doubt it. Phoenix is going to continue to get stronger. The LAs are going to get healthier, even though one is right now in the conference championship. Let's be real here. Without Kawhi, they're not going to be able to get much done.
Devin Booker's on a mission.
Of course, with the Lakers, if they add a third superstar and you have LeBron and AD, they're going to still be a top 3-5 team in the East. And, of course, the Golden State Warriors still are going to be there. This is the easiest year to get it done. In Philadelphia, this was the easiest year. The only way you break out of this is if you get Damian Lillard. You got to make a splash. That's it. This was the year to do it. This will hurt more than Toronto, in my opinion, because even though that year they lost in a tragic way, of course, they could have beaten Milwaukee. They could have beaten a banged-up Golden State Warriors team. That also could have been the year to do it. But this year, I think, was even more so earned and deserving for them to do it, and they just couldn't get the job done. And that's going to hurt the most.
I don't blame Joel Embiid at all. It's like, I mean, torn meniscus, comes out, does his job. Maybe you can blame 1 game or 2 games on him where he didn't do his job, but he still did enough to be like, damn, how did they lose? It really falls on Ben Simmons, in my opinion. And Zach, you're talking about making a splash. My family, my dad brought a great point up to him. Who the hell is going to want to take him now? After seeing that,
he's lost value.
He's a 3-time All-Star and all right, first team All Defense. But if you can't score, they don't mean anything. You're not a Draymond Green. He had 13 assists. That doesn't matter. You're broken. I don't want to call him a Markelle Fultz because he's more successful than Markelle Fultz. But we saw what happened with Markelle Fultz when he was broken. I still don't know. Apparently, Orlando has the keys or something and made him great at some point. But Zach, it's hard to trade someone that's broken and won't shoot. Zach, I saw this meme. Everybody in the city, and you could take anybody. Zach, you could take me. Everyone in the city can shoot at some point. You can shoot a basketball. You can shoot one of those paper things in the trash. But I guarantee you Ben Simmons will take the shot. And I'll go one step further. It's like last night I even said, if I was blessed to be 6'10", with that speed and to be in the NBA, and the way how soft the league is played, Zach, do you think I'm giving the ball up? Do you think I'm not attacking? I'm going for it because if you get fouled, it's not about you going to the line. It's well, wait a minute. Now if they foul someone else, that person's going to the line too. You gotta think about from a logical standpoint, and obviously Ben Simmons for the last 2 games has never had it.
No, something's seriously been up with him. He's been struggling. He has not been able to become more successful. The Sixers don't have time to wait for Ben Simmons to show up because Embiid's prime is only going to be so long. With that being said, it's going to wrap up some of our Sixers coverage for today. Coming up after this, a shocker in Brooklyn. The favorites to win the NBA Finals, losing in a thriller Game 7 against the Milwaukee Bucks. What does this mean for the Bucks? What does it mean for the Nets? And what does it mean for the whole league? Stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Let's break it down then. Brooklyn Nets, obviously the favorite to win the NBA Finals this year. I mean, I said it. I said that they did not have enough firepower, but of course, it's argued to say that without Kyrie Irving, with Kyrie Irving, it would have been different. Brooklyn Nets falling in the second round this year, first year together as a whole. Looked like the dominant team in most of the series. Kevin Durant looked like an insanely person off the face of the planet. This is just it was a unfortunate ending for them. They were inches away from winning in regulation, just couldn't get enough shots put down in overtime. Not enough role players, not enough guys to step up. Joe Harris had a horrible series, and of course Milwaukee took advantage of it. Giannis, very good from the free throw line in the seventh game. Horrible the rest of the series. Very good from the 3-point line. I mean, these are things he usually doesn't do well that he did. We got to give him credit. He stepped up and did what he had to get his team moved on to the conference final.
It's like this series proved three things to me. One, that injuries and what LeBron James was going on a Twitter rant about, he was correct 100%. As much as I kind of would view that as crybaby like, but he's not wrong. Shortened season, rush games, a lot of this, it wasn't fair to the players, and now a lot of players are hurt. That's number one take. Number two take, the Brooklyn Nets were literally a Kevin Durant foot or toe, to be exact, to go into the Eastern Conference Finals. Let that sink in. He played 53 minutes, had 48 points. That and that's within in game 5, he had a 49 piece. Should have been a 50 burger in my opinion, but who am I? If there's another thing to take away from that too is James Harden was really hurt. He wasn't out there to score. He was out there just to be a name and to be a face to draw attention. He played 52 minutes, 22 points, but he didn't look like himself. Kyrie Irving goes down, which in all honesty, Zach, if you watch the play over, I think that should have been fouled because there was no landing space. And my last point, this proves Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer to ever play this game. And I'll go on a limb and say he might be the best basketball player in the game right now. Right now. The series he just had, he stepped up. He knew what he had to do. He lost Kyrie Irving. James Harden was a no-show for a majority of the series. And even when he came back, it must have been an imposter, James Harden, because that wasn't the guy we're used to seeing travel from the three-point line to the hole. Kevin Durant answered the call, did what he was supposed to do, got them to 7, almost won. And that last shot, Zach, that was a fatigue shot. But you're right. Injuries, firepower, defense. The firepower was there for sure if all three guys are healthy. Defensively, that's a different story. And they're going to get better. They're going to get healthier, and they're going to come back with a vengeance because now you're viewed as a team that couldn't do it. They're not going to talk about injuries. They're going to talk about the team that couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, totally. There's a lot of factors that come into it. I think if Joe Harris couldn't step up to the plate, of course, Kyrie's injury, Harden's injury, which credit to him forcing himself back into the series. He was battling some tough injuries and still had 22 points in Game 7. But, Gavin, what's next for Brooklyn? What do they have to do in this offseason? What do they have to get right?
Well, first you have to prioritize health. If you are the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant did declare for Team USA, so if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you do and don't want to see that back. I mean, he's going to do what he wants to do, but it's all about building up the role players around the three. It's making sure. I heard Dinwiddie declined his player option. It's about making sure you can get a better center. Maybe go out and get an Andre Drummond to grab rebounds and just fix your role players. You clean house. Maybe you trade away Joe Harris and try to get some more pieces around the three. It's about how can we help the big three be better at some areas they don't have. That's what this offseason is going to look at. And I think the more time that Steve Nash has with a so-called James Harden and then Kevin Durant and Kyrie all together, they're going to be just fine.
Any big names specifically you want to see end up in Brooklyn next year? I
mean, well, as a Sixers fan, you really don't want to see any name end there. But to take that out of it, I want to see Andre Drummond go there. You want to see a guy like Andre Drummond who went to LA and it didn't work. Andre Drummond's role for Brooklyn could be easily, hey, grab my rebound and put it back and put it up. Grab the rebound and put it back up. That's all you need to do. I like Blake Griffin. I think Blake Griffin ends up staying for a little cheaper deal. I don't think DeAndre Jordan has anymore. Nicholas Claxton is a pretty good backup center. He's only going to get better. And you got to get yourself a nice little guard and some more shooters outside that, and that can play defensive both. But the one big name I think should go there is Andre Drummond.
Yeah, look, we'll see what they do in the offseason. It's going to be an exciting one here. Hopefully by mid-July, towards the end of
Well,
July, we'll be able to start seeing some of it. Good.
I was going to ask you, what name do you think goes there? I got to ask you that.
I mean, they're going to need a defensive center. They're going to, or a defensive guard. Obviously, a guy like Drew Holiday will be perfect there, but he's not going to be on the move this offseason, at least as of right now. I mean, I'll throw a really, really. I mean, this is probably one that most people are going to disagree with, but Draymond Green would be perfect there. If they could find a way to get Draymond Green, that would make that team an instant favorite by a long shot. The defense, the facilitating, the everything. Draymond Green would definitely be a perfect fit in Brooklyn. I think it's very unlikely. I don't know what you'd have to send out in return, but Draymond Green would probably be my perfect fit for Brooklyn. It's not going to happen, but that's where my mind's going as far as what they could add. A player like that who can facilitate, who can play defense, and who can score when you need to.
Draymond Green means a lot to the Golden State Warriors. There's no way they let him go. As much as I bash him on his offensive side, but making sure Steph Curry and Klay Thompson can get set up off so they can run around. There's no way they can go, Zach. I do like the idea. If they were to get a guy as a caliber of Draymond Green, it would be over. It would be over for the whole entire East.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to find next year. We'll see what happens, how they roll out, how they respond. But finally, let's talk about the Western Conference. Because we're not here last week, we do have some catch-up to do. Utah Jazz go up 2-0 on the Clippers, tied up at 2. The Clippers go up 3-2, and then they close the series in 6 games, even without Kawhi Leonard. Playoff P is looking like he's showing up quite a lot right now. Credit to him. Rudy Gobert looking like a liability in Game 6. Yeah, I did pick the Clippers to come out of the West. I do stick with them because that's how it works when you pick a team, but I don't think they beat Phoenix. However, they've really overachieved this year. Does Tyronn Lue deserve some credit for that, and as well as how is Paul George done rising to the occasion?
Well, it's how Tyronn Lue prepares his team. Zach, they were down 2-0 to both teams in both series. They were down 2-0 to Dallas, and they go out and win road game. It was the first home team to win the home game won the series, and that's what the Clippers did. They go down 2-0 to the Utah Jazz, and they come out and look lights out in the next 4 games. Tyronn Lue deserves a lot of credit, but also it's the role players that stepped up. When Kawhi Leonard went down, you saw guys like Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris. They stepped up to the plate and they scored. As long as those guys can continue, and Paul George looks like the old Paul George of old, this team is dangerous. But Zach, it's just how you prepare them. It's how you prepare the role players. Paul George is going to be Paul George. But it's the guys around him that's going to make this team be great. But Zach, Riley the Valley is serious, and they're no joke. The Suns are no joke.
Yeah, let's talk about Phoenix. They swept the Denver Nuggets. Is there anything for the Nuggets to take away from this series, or is it just simply put they didn't have Jamal Murray?
Aaron Gordon doesn't work. Michael Porter Jr. is a liability on defense, Zach. I mean, it's they're running whoever offense on Michael Porter Jr., who was supposed to be a great defender, I thought, and a great scorer, but Zach, I could be wrong. You can't say without Jamal Murray. You can say that because Jamal Murray is a big part to the offense, especially him and Nikola Jokic and how they can combine for 50, 70 points sometimes. Just to say it was just Jamal Murray, no, I have to look at Michael Porter Jr., and I have to look at Nikola Jokic's actions in the last game. Even though I don't think that was warrant an ejection, you got to keep your emotions in check. I mean, Zach, it was a lot, but those are my 2 takeaways. It's just Michael Porter Jr. And also, you could say Aaron Gordon. Where the hell were you? You get traded there. Everybody thought that's going to be the big 3 there. Jamal Murray goes down. I understand that, but you're supposed to be this guy. This guy is supposed to be good. You're just known for dunking, really, and dropping a diss track on Dwayne Wade, which wasn't that good, Zach. I listened to it. It was terrible.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, Jamal Murray is going to miss some of next season still as he recovers from his torn ACL. Kawhi Leonard, of course, that's a question mark. We do not know the full report yet, but doesn't look good for the Clippers. But let's talk about that series then. Let's talk about the Clippers. Let's talk about the Suns. The Suns took Game 1. They play again tomorrow in the Valley. Chris Paul still not back yet. He is expected to be back by the end of the week as he is recovering from testing positive from COVID-19. But Gavin, between those 2 teams, who do you think comes out on top and ends up in the NBA Finals?
I got the Suns in 5. What we saw yesterday, Zach, was the closest thing I've seen to pure dominance in a while. And that's going back to what Kevin Durant did. So it's not a while, Zach, maybe a couple of days. He took the game over. Zach, they come out at halftime. They're down, down 10 down 8, down 10. And next, he scores 16 straight points. He had a 40-point triple-double. And the thing about that, Zach, is he's just getting started. And if you're in the Western Conference, notice these brothers. Notice DeAndre Ayton, how well he's been playing. Notice how Devin Booker has a killer mentality. Damn near like Kobe. Zach, I know we're not allowed to, we're quick to compare it to the legends, but that was a Kobe moment I watched yesterday. And finally, Zach, is Monty Williams deserves a lot of credit. Him and Chris Paul. Chris Paul wasn't there yesterday. I give Monty Williams a lot of credit. He kept the team composed. He kept the team ready, and Devin Booker showed up when they needed him the most. That's what a superstar does, and he's going to be a part for years to come. And Zach, I'm gonna go on a limb and say this: if they make it out of this series and play against the Bucks, I see that going to 6, and I see the Phoenix Suns becoming champions.
Chris Paul's first ring, that'd be a great storyline for it for sure. And now let's flip it over to the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee Bucks, Atlanta Hawks. Bucks in 5.
Bucks in 4. But easy. Zach, the style of basketball that Milwaukee plays, there's no way that Clint Capella and John Collins can manage to stop that. If Chris Middleton shows up and Drew Holiday actually hits a 3-point shot, it's over in 4 games. It's actually over in 3 because Trae Young's going to complain half the time. So I'm not even going to watch that. I have no interest in watching it.
Quite possibly it's going to be an interesting run for them. But with that being said, that wraps up our talk in the basketball world for today. Coming up after this, quite a story in the U.S. Open, from leading the Memorial Tournament by 6 and withdrawing on Sunday because of a positive COVID-19 test to a quarantine, and his first tournament since to win the U.S. Open. Jon Rahm winning his first major championship. We're going to cover that, as well as we'll talk about some Philadelphia Philly scenarios coming up after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Network. Before we do continue, I want to thank all of our subscribers as we have officially hit 100 subscribers. We have been doing our show for slightly over a year now. It's been a fun year. It's been an interesting year, to say the least, and with school, with everything we've had in between, we've been able to continue with the show. So, Gavin, I'm excited to continue to roll on this journey with you. For all of our fans out there, we thank you and appreciate everything that you've done for us. Big things ahead as we continue to progress.
We wouldn't do it without you guys. I mean, Zach, we talked about it. We said if this doesn't, pick up steam at some point, we're going to have to, explore and make it better. And you guys showed that no matter what format, no matter what time, you guys rock with us, and we love you for it. And like we said, there's big things coming ahead. I mean, we know the future is bright. Technology is advancing as the second. I mean, Zach, there's probably a flying dog somewhere in the world. I don't know. But just stay tuned. We have some fun things planned, and hopefully if we can grow and take this further than what it is now, but we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, let's get started with it. I know for myself, I've obviously been our golf guy, go-to person to break it all down. For anyone who might not know, Jon Rahm, who is now the number 1 golfer in the world, was number 3.
Oh, we lost.
Dustin Johnson, yes, has been knocked off from number 1, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Memorial Tournament, up by 6 strokes going into the final day. 6 strokes is a commanding lead, by the way. The winner of that tournament ended up not even getting to where Jon Rahm was after 3 rounds. Rahm was notified that he had tested positive for COVID, withdrew from the tournament, did not make any money from that tournament, quarantined for 2 weeks, came out on Tuesday of this past week, prepared for the U.S. Open 1 day less than the rest of the field, and crushed it. He was tied for the lead, got a birdie on 17, a big putt birdie on 18, had to stand there and wait. Louis Oosthuizen unable to capitalize and would eventually fall. 6 under would be the winning score for Jon Rahm. Congratulations to him. first major champion. And yes, Gavin, John Rahm, with that win, becomes the number one golfer in the world golf rankings, knocking Dustin Johnson off after quite some time, honestly. But John Rahm now number one, Dustin Johnson at number two. Very slim margin. This could go back and forth now. It was a much bigger gap before, but it's an average of 9.98 points per tournament played for John Rahm and 9.95 for Dustin Johnson. So quite a lot. Certainly quite a lot for John Rahm to be able to make that jump. Justin Thomas down to number three golfer in the world. Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Bryson DeChambeau rounds out the top six. And this is, of course, Tiger Woods, not a name on here right now, but hopefully to return next season, we'll be able to break that down as well. But U.S. Open, major number 3 of the year. Of course, the last one is the Open Championship, which will take place next month in Northern Ireland. But Gavin, that's a pretty good story if you're John Rahm. There's videos of him crying, putting his mask on, being driven off, as he had found out he had tested positive for the virus that has shut down the whole world last year. And it cost him a tournament. It did. But he bounced back and he won the U.S. Open. First win for a non-American in 5 years. Congratulations, the first winner from the country of Spain.
So I was watching today on SportsCenter where he had a comment and said, when I went home, I was a firm believer, said, when something bad happens, I always look for the good thing that's going to happen. And I went on the course today, and I felt that good feeling something's going to happen. And Zach, he became the champion. Now, I have no problems with being a champion. I really don't, Zach. I mean, 2 weeks ago, this guy was destroying in one of the major championships, and next thing you know, he tested positive with COVID, which, Zach, it doesn't make sense to me how he made it out there in the first place. We could talk about that another time. But I would like to see him start what he finished. I think he deserved a little bit something from the last time he was out there. But good things do happen to our dark situations. Good things do happen. I'm glad that he won. But damn, I mean, Zach, you see what happens when I pick a new golfer other than Tiger Woods? I've been picking Dustin Johnson the past month now, and I can't get a win. Zach, I need a new golfer. I'm not going to pick John Rahm because that makes me like a bandwagon. But it's crazy to see, just how quick life can turn around. You're destroying golf one day, you get your whole career gets flipped upside down. Then you come back the next minute and you win. It's a beautiful story.
That it is. I think it was a really, really appropriate ending for John Rahm, for his family. Of course, it's tough that it is. And so, with that being said, Gavin, finally we have to talk about it. The Philadelphia Phillies, a very brutal road trip. They come out of it a tick below 500, but there is hope, and I'll tell you why. I'm still holding on to it. The Philadelphia Phillies this week have a little bit easier of a schedule. They travel home to Philly today. They play against the Washington Nationals, they've had their number for the next 2 games. And the Mets play the Braves, who have had their number this season. They have a 4-game series against Atlanta. We have a 2-game series against the Nationals. Depending on how that looks, there's a 4-game series between the Philadelphia Phillies and New York Mets coming up. I will have my official prediction on whether or not I believe the Phillies can still make the playoffs after the next 8 games. Because the only way you're going to do it is by winning the division, and they're still there. The Phillies, it's been a tough year for them. We know that. It's been very disappointing, as always. But they're only 4 games back of the Mets. They are in second place in the division. They're below 500. It's tough. But no one else in the division is doing anything special. Mets are 7 games above right now. They're on a hot streak, but they're starting to slow down a little bit. In the last 10 games, the Phillies had the second-best record behind the Nationals, and the Mets have been struggling. Let's see what they can do. It's still early in the year. We're not at the halfway point yet. The Phillies need to, at some point, turn it up, though, and Aaron Nola has continued to struggle game in and game out.
The worst part about the Sixers losing, Zach, and I'm going to get to the beauty of it real quick. The best part about the Sixers playing is that I didn't have to think about this trash. I forgot we had a baseball team. Well, ladies and gentlemen, because Ben Simmons can't show up in Game 7, now had to cover baseball. Look, Zach, I looked, and you texted me. I want to say, was that Saturday or Sunday? You said Aaron Nola is not an ace. Well, you paid him like an ace. You paid him like an ace. And the thing is I try to give Aaron Nola the benefit of the doubt. He's not a gas thrower. He's a paint the corners type guy. Well, he's not painting anything. He really isn't. And when you have a team like the Phillies who need runs to win before their pitching gives up runs. That's the problem. Your ace is Zach Wheeler, and then Eflin, who got torched yesterday, Zach. I mean, 11-2. 11-2. And this team has no hope whatsoever. And if they make the playoffs, Zach, if they make the playoffs, I'm gonna go to a game. I'm gonna find my way into a game. I'm not gonna pay for it. I'm gonna just walk right in because they're not worth my money, but I do want to go see it. But guess what, Zach? I guess I don't have to worry about that because they're not going. They're not going. I get their 4 games back, Zach, and we could talk about how bad the NL East has been, even though that was one of the most hyped up divisions outside the NL West. It's just the teams underperform for both sides. Whether it's the Phillies, whether it's the Mets, whether it's the Braves, or whether it's the Marlins or Nationals. 4 games back, you look at it on paper and say, that's not bad. If you watch how the Phillies play baseball, 4 games back feels like a whole mountain to climb. An entire mountain. It's like I had to get to a game. I haven't been to a Phillies game in a year. I had to get to one and then be upset that I spent money on going to a game.
Yeah, we're overdue to go to a game, but look, these next 10 games are pivotal. We'll see where they are at that point. It's kind of moving day essentially for the Phillies. 2 games against the Nationals as opposed to playing 4 games against the Braves for the Mets. And then they meet up for 4 games. So if it's within 4 at that point, the Phillies can look to take first place in the division. It's not over yet. We have a lot to do. We got to view it as unbiased as we can. But it's a disappointing year for them. They got to start picking up steam. With that being said, Gavin, is there anything else that you wanted to cover today before we wrap up today's show?
Zach, I know it's been a week since we've been here, but I got to give a huge shout out to Oklahoma women's softball. Oklahoma State softball. We're winning the college softball world championship. Zach, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. It was actually amazing. And forgive me, the pitcher's name from JMU who had a historical run. It's going to kill me if I forget her name, but I'm going to look at my brain tomorrow. But that was actually a pretty interesting to watch. That was the first time I actually got to sit down and watch the college softball World Series. And I enjoyed every moment of it. I enjoyed really every moment of it. I wish the NCAA handled it a little bit differently where they gave a little bit more rest days and stuff, but we know how that company is. And finally, Zach, can we the fight between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whatever the Paul was, no winner, really? No. Wow. That's tragic.
But boxing become a relative joke in this country at this point, I think.
When you got those 2 idiots fighting, and yeah, you're right.
I will have to say, look, with that being said, the Sixers continue to be at the top of headlines right now. Ben Simmons and everybody all over that. But with that being said, everybody, we got football season slowly starting to creep up. Aaron Rodgers not showing up for mandatory OTAs. We'll continue to cover all that and more as we continue. But, of course, right now in the hot and heavy is the NBA and the MLB. Again, thank you again, everybody, for watching us today. We appreciate all 100 subscribers.
Dodgers tonight. Let's get it.
It's part like a million. Let's see if the Dodgers can continue to begin their pull to get in first place in the NL West. They're sitting in 3rd right now. We'll see how it goes. Thank you again, everybody, and have a great Monday.
Have a good one, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.